Hey caterpillars! I just read another fairy book to you. I read to you the story called Backyard Fairies. And this story is all about this person's imagination of where fairies might be. It's from the perspective of a human who's thinking about fairies. I have another story that has another story, and it's about fairies themselves. This story on the back says, magic or science? Esther chooses science even though all her fairy mates in Pixieville believe in magic. So, this fairy maybe has different ideas than the people around her. I'm excited to hear what she thinks. Did you notice that this fairy is wearing a lot of sparkly things? And what's this on their head? They're wearing safety goggles. This story says, to every child who has ever discovered the magic of science. I've noticed that a lot of you are doing science experiments right now. I'm wondering what you're learning. Esther does not believe in magic. This is unusual because Esther is a fairy, and fairies are all about magic. They use magic wands and they mix magic potions. Some fairies even make magical fairy dust. This one says, shaboom! Esther is pretty sure that's just dandruff. Do you know what dandruff is? Dandruff is dry skin that comes from your skin on your head. She is the only fairy in Pixieville who believes in science. Esther prefers facts, data, and hard evidence to wishing stars. This looks like her science laboratory. A laboratory is where you go to study things and to do experiments. Unfortunately, the only thing they teach in fairy school is magic. Class is very frustrating for Esther. This teacher is saying, fairies were born when a drop of rain passed through a rainbow and landed on a flower bud. When the flower bloomed, the first fairy took flight. Or for Miss Pelly Petal. As you can see from this chart, it is more likely that fairies, as a species, evolved in response to influences such as environment and diet. What is the teacher's face expressing there? And what about her friends? Their friends. Esther can't help observing the world differently from everyone else. Where other fairies see a path to hidden gold, Esther sees light and water colliding. Follow the rainbow, Esther's friend says. Esther says, the water helps us see the colors that are hidden in the sunlight. That's dispersion. Where they see a dangerous omen, she sees condensation. When the temperature is just right, water droplets are suspended in the air. That's condensation. Where they see faces of spirits, she sees erosion. Rocks get worn away by water and wind. The faces are just your imagination. Their bird friend says, I don't think they are listening. Esther can't wait to teach the scientific method to her fairy mates. Ask a question. Do some research to find out more. Make a hypothesis. That's a fancy word for a guess. Do experiments. Study the results. Draw a conclusion. The bird says, Eureka! When we draw a conclusion, that means that we've decided, based on the experiments and the results, what the truth is. Her fairy mates say, or you could just do magic. She shows them the periodic table. This here is the periodic table. This is a list of all the elements that make up the whole universe. No, not all of them. Where are dreams and wishes and sunshine? She even demonstrates gravity. Whee! Gravity is why things fall down instead of up. But we can go up, so we must be magic. How would they go up? They just don't get it. Oh, look at Esther's experience here. They move. Esther looks a little frustrated. They're kicking a rock and the trees fall down. And they say that was definitely gravity because the leaves fell down. And there is definitely something wrong with this tree. It's wilting. The fairies do their best to help. They cast spells. This fairy says, alakazoo! They make magic talismans. They even do a mystical moonlight dance. But nothing works. The tree keeps on wilting. Esther asks a question. That's a great place to start, is asking a question to solve a problem. Why is the tree wilting? She does some research. She writes down what I know about trees. Number 1, they have leaves. Number 2, they have roots. Number 3, they are pretty. Number 4, they grow out of the dirt. She makes a hypothesis. She tries some experiments. Here, when she's making her hypothesis, she says, what does the tree need to grow? She wrote soil, water, air, hugs. And there's nothing in the 5th one. She studies her results. At last, Esther draws a conclusion. When people draw a conclusion, sometimes people say, Eureka! The tree needs more. What? Sun! The teacher here is singing a spell. She's singing Simbalahu, Simbalahi. I'm doing some magic to save this tree. I'm sure that's what it sounded like. Now she waits for the sun to do its work. She's waiting and waiting. The seasons are changing. It took a while, but the tree is looking positively perky. She did it! Esther has proven the power of science. Miss Pelly Petal did it! Magic saved the tree, said her friend. At least she thought she did. Oh. Some of the fairies did magic to try to save the tree, and Esther tried out working with her hypothesis that the tree needed sun, so she used science, but the tree is saved. Do we know which person helped it? Maybe both? Maybe one or the other? She may not have changed the other fairies' minds. The children say, hip hip hooray! It's your turn, caterpillars. Hip hip hooray! Esther sighs. But Esther has inspired some questions. How did you do that? Can you teach us science? And that's where every good scientist starts. This is Albert's observatory up here. Observatory is a place where you can observe things. What do you think they would be looking at? Okay, friends, this is Esther's sunbeam experiment. Do you want to try? You don't have to be a fairy to do science experiment. Why not grow your own seedlings at home? You'll need these things: dried lima beans, a zip seal sandwich bag, a paper towel, and tape. Your beans will grow extra fast if you soak them overnight. Friends, should we try this science experiment together? Let's make another video later where I show you all the directions here and we can try it together. I know that a lot of you are growing some things at home. I showed you that I'm growing green onions and red onions out of the scraps of things. I wonder what else we have to grow and the different ways we can grow. James showed me a picture of how he's growing green onions from scrap green onions also. Send us pictures of what you're doing. Okay? Friends, thanks for listening.